The Chicago Republican Party is raising questions about the man who was supposed to run against House Speaker Mike Madigan.
What's happening is that Mike Madigan is up to his sleazy tricks again. He is running a fake Republican candidate, so he won't have an actual Republican challenger in the fall.
The Republican Party plans to challenge the petitions filed by Republican candidate Goggin to try to knock him off the ballot.
We're tired of the Democrats mucking around in our internal process. We're tired of Mike Madigan's sleazy tricks. We have raised money all year for this. We're ready to take him on.
We have never met him. The Chicago Republican Party has never met the Republican candidate. We have never spoken to him. There are no known photographs of him.
Up until recently, the Republican Party has really not taken the fight to him.
This week, we're looking at those petitions. We're going to try and knock this Goggin off the ballot. And then we're going to try to slate a candidate in the spring.
The Chicago GOP accused Terrence Goggin of being a, quote, fake, who was put up by the Madigan campaign itself. A hearing before the Board of Elections had been called for this afternoon. The GOP claimed it could prove some of Madigan's people were actually working for Goggin and that some of his petitions were fraudulent.
Who is this Terrence Goggin, and what is the issue with him?
The question is, who is Terrence Goggin? I don't think anybody knows.
So I have to update a story because we've been on top of this here at WLS. We are still looking for the Goggin.
He's the now you see him, now you don't man of Illinois politics, except you never got to see him in the first place.
Terrence Goggin, who filed to run as a Republican against Democratic power broker Mike Madigan, suddenly dropped out of the race today. Republicans believe that he was just planted in the race by the Madigan campaign. Fox 32 investigative reporter Dane Placco is here with this story, a big story at that day.
We went in search of the mysterious Mr. Goggin when he filed as a candidate in the Southwest Side's 22nd District. Now, it's the fourth time he's run as the Republican candidate against Mike Madigan. Yet the Republicans say they have no idea who he is.
The Republican who was running against House Speaker Mike Madigan has dropped out of the race, a move the Chicago Republican Party sees as a victory for themselves. They were in the process of challenging the candidacy of Terrence Goggin. He's run against Madigan 3 times before, but few people have ever really seen him. Political insiders say Goggin may be a put-up candidate and an incumbent asked to run against them to avoid having to face a real challenger.
The Republican who is running against Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan has dropped out of the race, a move the Chicago Republican Party sees as a victory, as the party was actually in the process of challenging the candidacy of Terrence Goggin.
Republican candidate Terrence Goggin withdrew from that race amid a state GOP challenge of his petition signatures.
A Republican who was going to challenge Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan in 2014 is out.
The move came just an hour before a Board of Elections hearing. The hearing addressed allegations that a large number of signatures on Goggin's nominating petitions were frauds.
Earlier this month, we went door to door trying to talk with the people who passed Goggin's Republican petitions, all of whom have a history of pulling Democratic ballots in the primary.
Should be right with you. Okay, thanks. Okay.
The stepfather of circulator Angela Reyes was the only one to answer the door.
Yeah, she says it to tell you that no comment.
We did reach out to Madigan's office for reaction, but they declined to comment.
House Speaker Madigan did not return Eyewitness News calls for comment.
Speaker Madigan has made no comment about this issue. GOP leaders will now be able to select their own candidate to run against Michael Madigan.
Today, the Chicago Republican Party scored a significant victory over the Madigan organization. Mike Madigan's fake Republican opponent withdrew.
Oh, Chris, you guys have done a great job. You really have done a great job. Very proud of you.
How many times has the Goggin run?
4 times before. This would be the 5th, although he won't be on the ballot this year. The key thing now is we've got to find somebody who really wants to take on Mike Madigan. So, if anyone who is listening right now wants to be a candidate against Mike Madigan, a genuine Republican, go to chicagogop.com, click Be a Candidate, big red button, and give us some information. We want to talk to you.
Chicago a la Asamblea Legislativa, los 18 abanderados a representantes estatales The long dormant Chicago Republican Party is not dormant any longer.
Chicago Republican Party has announced it's fielding 18 candidates for the state legislature in next year's election. The party says 146 people responded to a marketing campaign.
Republicans in Chicago are trying a new strategy in next year's election, running candidates.
In 2014, Chicago voters will finally be able to vote for solid, responsible, accomplished Republican candidates. These 18 candidates come from personal backgrounds and professional experiences that are as diverse as the city of Chicago itself.
Point one is there is a Republican Party in Chicago, believe it or not.
Right.
And they're actually starting to wake up a little bit.
We have an incredible group running for office for this city, for this state. We've got 4 business owners, 3 lawyers, both a military vet and educational administrator. These are the people the state of Illinois needs to get the job done.
They're banking on candidates like Mark Callender, who's in telecommunications and is running for representative in parts of Chicago's west and north sides.
Good morning, my name is Mark Callender. I'm a small business owner running against Derek Smith. I've heard people through every neighborhood say they're worried about their financial future. That's why I'm running.
Illinois does not have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem, and we need to restore fiscal responsibility to Illinois, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
What these folks need is some tax relief. They need leadership, and they need people who are not beholden to the machine. That's why I'm running.
When you ask voters in the city of Chicago if Illinois government is working for them, the majority of them will tell you, absolutely not. They're unhappy with the choices they have in their schools. They're unhappy with the safety situation in the streets, and they're really unhappy with the way government's spending their money. And so when we announced a campaign to look for candidates who are willing to step forward in their communities and speak out against really the epic tragedy that is Illinois government, these individuals behind me stepped up.
And I'm running because my neighborhood needs a decrease in crime and an increase in jobs.
I'm running because there are some obvious issues in our communities: crime, education, employment, and we want to focus on those things. Thank you.
We have 18 candidates in 16 districts across Chicago, and people are actually going to have a choice. And we've also raised a fair amount of money, so we're going to be able to run campaigns for all of these folks across the city.
You guys have been phenomenal, just phenomenal. You breathed new life in the Chicago Republican Party.
So, Kevin Sugg, Chicago GOP. Look, we've said this before. When we heard the Republican response, we said, we've got a health care plan. Wait till you hear it.
I've heard that it's already been brought to him. He just rejected what they had to bring to him. As far as the health care goes, premiums have increased. Something has to be fixed because me myself, I lost my doctor 2 weeks ago because he can no longer deal with the health care provider.
Chris Cleveland is here. He's vice chairman of the Chicago GOP. And Stephanie Linares, one of 18 Republican candidates who have been slated to run for legislative seats as Republicans from Chicago.
We are proud that these candidates and are hopeful to begin the fight to win back Illinois, not for a party, but for our neighborhoods.